calm before the storm.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like.
Okay, and we are live.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to Taproom Live. Tonight, we're broadcasting from multiple locations. We have some people live from the Empty Bottle at Southern Tier Distilling. We also have our executive chef in Charlotte and myself tuning in from Florida. So excited about tonight. We're going to try to make things really interactive and fun. Carrie's got some great drinks that she's gonna teach everybody how to make, and we're gonna do it together. And they're awesome. It's really gonna kind of showcase all the different things that we do at Southern Tier Brewing and Southern Tier Distilling, cider to seltzer to bourbon to rye to vodka. So really excited. Got some fun stuff to do tonight. So first of all, I just again want to thank everybody for tuning in, and I'd like to just go around and have everybody introduce themselves. So I'm Finn. I'm the founder of Southern Tier Brewing Company and Southern Tier Distilling. So thanks for joining.
Hi, everybody. I'm Carrie Steele. I'm the hospitality manager at Southern Tier Distilling Company. I run the tasting room here. I make all the cocktails and plan all the events here at the distillery.
Hi, I'm Nathan Arnone. I'm the brand manager for Southern Tier Distilling Company here in Lakewood, New York. And it's great to be here. Nice to be here in front of everyone. We're looking forward to showcasing all the products that we have here and talking about them, including all of the stuff from the brewery and what we have here on the distillery side and our ciders, and even talk a little bit about the hand sanitizer that we make.
And I'm Drew Ward. I'm the corporate executive chef for Southern Tier. So I oversee the menus in Pittsburgh, Cleveland, and in Lakewood at the Empty Pint. So for me, I just get to play with beer and food. So it's a pretty good day.
Not a bad gig.
All right, and we have our producers here backstage as well. It's Marissa here, brand manager for Southern Tier, working very closely with Nate on all of our wonderful brands and products. And I'm here with Chris and Lauren, and we'll be looking out for your questions in the chat. So let's hear it, guys.
Yeah, so like I was saying, we're gonna make some drinks, we're gonna have some fun, and anytime anybody has any questions, just send them in and we will stop and try to answer them to the best of our knowledge. So Carrie, do you want to kick it off with your 2X vodka seltzer slushie?
You bet. All right, guys, let's get started. For this, you're gonna need a blender, ice, some vodka, and your favorite vodka seltzer flavor. It also uses a little fresh lime juice and simple syrup as well. We're just gonna build everything in the blender. When you're doing blended drinks with ice, you really want twice as much ice as you have liquid. So this is about a 15-ounce drink. So we're gonna do maybe about 16, 20 ounces of ice in here. So we're gonna start with an ounce of vodka. Fill a little glass here.
You putting that right in the blender?
I'm putting it in a little cup and I'm gonna pour it all in the blender just so I can do it in front of you. My blender's on the side.
All right.
An ounce of simple syrup. It's just a 1-to-1 ratio simple syrup. That means I use 1 cup of sugar and 1 cup of water to make it. And then we're gonna lime.
Close to an ounce.
I always like to use fresh lime juice, but of course you can get the bottled. I just don't think it's quite as fresh tasting. Use 1 whole lime. I'm pouring that right in the blender. Along with the ice.
Doesn't look as graceful as yours.
And I got right. Then we're gonna pick our favorite flavor. I'm just gonna grab the black cherry pomegranate.
I think I'm blood orange.
A little.
Pour that right in. You can do the whole can or part of the can, how much you want. And we're gonna put the lid on and blend it. Doesn't matter how strong your blender is. All blenders prefer smaller ice, so you don't really want to use those big, huge whiskey cubes for this. You really just want to use regular ice cubes. There we go. You get your cup ready. I've got my Southern Tier chocolate tumbler here from my Slushie. And garnish it if you want. A little lime slice. There you go. How's everybody else is coming along?
I think pretty good.
A nice refreshing drink for these hot summer days. The vodka seltzers are really light. The extra shot of vodka gives a little extra oomph. You're using all that ice and it's going to melt down slowly and just be a really refreshing summer cocktail.
Do you approve, Carrie? Did I do it?
Looks good.
All right. All right.
Should we drink?
Sure.
Yeah. Finn, you ready? Cheers.
Okay.
Social.
Pretty tasty.
That's really good.
I don't think I added enough ice to mine. Mine's not totally slushy, but it's good enough.
Good enough.
Yeah, I had to add it like 3 times.
We have salty flavors: mango and peach, blood orange pomelo, watermelon and cucumber, and the one that Carrie just used, which is black cherry pomegranate. And they're all really light, refreshing, meant to be that way. So 1 gram of carb, just 95 calories, no sugar. They're gluten-free and really light at 4.5% alcohol. So they're really sessionable and make great additions to cocktails.
Yeah, these would go great in the summer. Any kind of chips and salsa, or roasted vegetables, any kind of thing like that. Just really light, salty to snack on with this.
Yeah, I agree. I chose the blood orange pomelo for mine, but I think any of the seltzers would work well in this drink. I think next time I might try the watermelon. It might add some really cool complexity to it.
Yep. And you could probably add any sort of frozen fruit to it if you want to, up the fruit flavor. You could add a juice to it too. There are a lot of different things you can do to make it your own and modify the flavors.
Very cool.
Absolutely. I accidentally put thyme in mine, and it was actually pretty good.
It's amazing.
I was getting ready to say, I think basil actually would be pretty cool in it. So.
Yes, especially with the watermelon cucumber. Basil is a great addition to that one.
Yeah, definitely.
Agreed.
Awesome. Yeah, great drink. Good job, Carrie.
Thanks, guys.
Hey guys, as we transition to the next one, I think everybody's getting amped up to see all that flavor. So we have a question from Dustin. I think he's reminiscing a little bit about the Blackwater series and wondering if we'll ever see the Girl Scout flavors again, or any good memories from the likes of Samoa This and Thick Men and all that when we're thinking about our beer.
Yeah, Thick Mint is one of my all-time favorite beers from Southern Tier. That was a really fun one to develop, and the name just happened right away. That was an easy one to put a label to. That was one of my favorites. Finn, what do you think about that one? You remember that when we were developing it?
Yeah, I think that The Girl Scout flavors were really fun and exciting. But, you know, like anything, we kind of like to keep being innovative and kind of move on and try new things. So, I mean, I'll never say never, but, you know, we can definitely glean off of some of the flavors of the past and help innovate towards the future. But, you know, those are great beers. I loved when we kind of went down the little, you know, kind of Girl Scout path with some of our dessert stouts, and there was some really cool things that came out of that. So I'm also curious if Dustin's last name is Hazer.
I don't think so, but we'll look out for him. So perfect. So speaking of beer, I think that takes us right to our next cocktail, right, guys? With Ruby Red Shandy.
Nice. So a shandy is traditionally a lemonade and beer mixture. We've changed it up with a little grapefruit flavor. We have our brand new Ruby Red 8 days a week we're going to be using for this cocktail. Again, I like to kick it up with one of our spirits. We got the rye, and we're going to use some fresh thyme, just a nice little herbal note as well. So for this drink, you're going to need a beer glass. I'm gonna mix mine in a mixing glass, but any other glass to mix in is fine. Although not everybody has one of these at home. And a little grapefruit juice. Tropicana makes a good one. Ocean Spray. You can also squeeze your grapefruits fresh, which is always the best. And let's get started. So first, I'm gonna fill my beer glass with ice.
All right.
A little bit of ice in my mixing glass as well. We want to chill the spirits and the simple syrup and everything we put in the mixing glass. Add to the mixing glass a sprig of fresh thyme. I always prefer to use lemon thyme. It's a little light and citrusy. I also like German thyme, which is what I'm using now. So we're going to use a sprig of that. There are over 300 varieties of thyme, so just pick your favorite or whatever you have on hand. They're all going to give you that same lemony herbaceous flavors that you get from thyme. So that's going in. You can crush it up a little bit in your fingers to release some of those essential oils. You can muddle it if you want. You can just stir it with a spoon. We're going to do an ounce of our Southern Tier rye whiskey. An ounce of grapefruit juice.
I gotta say, this is like my favorite rye in all the land. I love it.
I agree. And then again, the 1-to-1 very simple syrup. Just have a little sweetness to the drink. Those in. And then I'm just gonna stir those up just to combine them. What's nice about all the cocktails we're making today is you don't need a shaker. I know a lot of people don't have a shaker, or a shaker can be kind of intimidating, so none of the drinks we're making today require a shaker. All right. I've got that stirred up. I'm gonna use my Hawthorne strainer, strain it into my beer glass, just so I don't get very many of those chunks of the thyme in there. And crack your beer. Pour it in.
You pour it straight into the middle.
I poured straight down the middle.
You don't have a strainer, you can use the spoon technique as well. I don't know if...
And then I always like to stir it one more time just to combine the beer. Everything else is in there. All stirred up. You can garnish it with a slice of lemon, little spritz of lime, fresh grapefruit. You can put another sprig of thyme on top. You're all set. So if anyone has any questions, feel free to chime in on the chat at any time. We're here to answer all your questions. This, if you haven't tried it yet, the new Ruby Red 8 Days is really light, really refreshing. It's a really nice twist on our traditional 8 days a week.
All right. Well, cheers.
Ready? Cheers.
Oh, that's really nice.
Yeah, that's great, Carrie. That is a beautiful drink right there.
That's my favorite. On Memorial Day weekend, I probably had about 4 or 5 of these throughout the weekend. It was really nice, refreshing, a little lighter. You can drink a few of them, and
Yeah.
Yeah, the rye gives it a really nice spicy twist, and the citrus and the sweetness from the simple syrup really kind of round everything out. It's a really, really nice drink. And like Carrie was saying too, if you haven't had a chance to try the Ruby Red 8 days, it is fantastic. It's a really nice summer drink, very easygoing, takes a great beer like 8 days a week and just a little bit of a citrus twist with all natural flavor and essence. It's just a really, really refreshing spin-off of our, other great session beer 8 days a week. The rye, like Chef Drew was saying, our rye is fantastic. And, bourbon's kind of the craze right now. But rye's still holding in there pretty strong. And I'm not sure if everybody knows the difference between rye and bourbon, so I just want to talk about that for a second. So the difference between rye and bourbon is rye has to be made with the predominant grain being rye. So for it to be rye, it's got to be at least 51% rye. And the other grains would consist of barley, corn, probably corn being the next dominant grain, where a bourbon has to be predominantly corn, and then the rest of it can be a mix of wheat, barley, and rye. So those are the two big differences from bourbon, is that the predominant grain is rye. Difference from bourbon. So, we have great bourbon, we have great rye. I'm a big brown spirit guy, so I'm super proud of the stuff that we're doing at the distillery. And, the distillery's been around now, so all of our stuff is really starting to come to age. So just about all the ryes and bourbons that we have are over 4 years old now, which, as a craft distillery, it's hard to compete with some of the guys that have been doing this for a really long time. So we're super proud to have those aged brown spirits that we do.
Very cool.
The New York State distillery, farm distillery, all of our grains come from New York. So this is really kind of highlights what the farmers in our area are doing with their grains and what we're able to do with it in the bottle.
Yeah, to Nate's point, all of our grains are purchased within, I think, 100-mile radius of the distillery. So, we are truly a farm to still craft distillery, all New York based. So, neat.
Very cool. I think the addition of the rye to this is awesome because a lot of times I think shandies get a little too sweet. I think the rye is incredible in it. And to me, it's screams summer, this whole drink, obviously. So anything spicy, grilled shrimp, anything like that, tacos would be killer with this.
And we tried it with the gin also, our vapor gin. Also good if you're not a whiskey drinker. The gin is also a good one to use in this cocktail instead of the rye.
You could even put vodka in this too if you didn't want that little spicy twist from a brown spirit. This would be killer just with some, Southern Tier vodka as well.
Agreed.
I say this is also my first time trying the Ruby Red, and it's pretty awesome. We haven't got it down here yet, so this is really good.
Agreed. It's been a big hit since we released it last weekend. All right.
All right, guys, we do have one question. Just circling back a little bit to the seltzer. We had a question from Ed if any of the canned vodka seltzers are available in the Cleveland, Ohio area.
Yes, if you can try our Spirit Finder on SouthernTierDistilling.com. There's a Spirit Finder. Just plug in your your zip code, and it ought to show you the retail locations where it's available.
Right on.
Gary, this is dangerously good.
Tell me about it.
Yeah, that would be very easy to enjoy a lot of those very quickly.
I think we might have to have another social. I think I've had 3 in between the last question. Cheers.
Cheers.
Oh.
Fantastic stuff. Really good. Really good.
How did you like it? All right, shall we move on to the tan line, our cider?
Let's do.
Okay. So we are now going to make a cocktail called the tan line. Again, this one uses vodka. Southern Tier unfiltered apple cider. It's a dry cider. A little elderflower simple syrup. Of course, if you don't have elderflower simple syrup, you can use regular simple syrup. You could also kick it up with a little elderflower liqueur like Saint Germain. If you want to add a little extra booze, there you go, Drew. And we have some pineapple juice in this one. And this one we're going to build right in our copper mug. You don't have to have a copper mug, of course, any cup will do.
Good, because I don't.
By filling the mug with ice. We're going to do 1 ounce the Southern Tier wheat vodka. Right in. 1 ounce pineapple juice. And 1 ounce of your simple syrup. We're going to fill it with our cider.
So Carrie, if I'm using the elderflower liqueur, do I still use the simple syrup or just the liqueur?
You do not have to use the simple syrup. You can just use the liqueur.
Perfect.
You don't need a full ounce unless you really want to kick it up that much.
Never been hesitant.
It's, you know.
I'm using the Saint Germain too, which is pretty sweet stuff. So I kind of cut way back on simple syrup. I don't.
Yeah.
Then you just fill it to the top of the cider. In this mule, the cider is taking the place of ginger beer, which is in a traditional mule. It's a couple different to use the cider. It's just as refreshing. This is a nice summertime cocktail. We give it a good stir, blend all the ingredients. A little fresh lime. There it is, tan line.
Are we drinking? Are we cheersing? Are we socialing?
At least try it. Make sure I did it all right. Cheers.
Oh man, that's great. Wow, delish.
Oh, wow.
Good. Another dangerously delicious drink where you can have several and stand up.
Yeah.
Yeah. And just to talk a little bit about all the great things that we do at Southern Tier, here's another one, the Southern Tier cider. For those of you that haven't tried it, it's available in most of our retail partners. You can get it at all of our locations. I don't know if some of you remember a blast from the past. We've been doing cider for a while. We first launched cider under the label called the Monks, which was an awesome cider. It was a really dry cider, almost kind of leaned more towards a Spanish cider. At that time, all the ciders in the market were extremely sweet. So we were a bit ahead of our time. So fast forward to today, I think craft cider is really making a comeback, and it's more along the lines of what we originally did with, you know, the kind of nod to a Spanish cider, a European cider, where it's not this super sweet, almost kind of like malternative. It's more of like a traditional cider that's dry and refreshing and crisp. And really, you know, the difference in the flavors comes from the acidity of the apples and really kind of the kind of like farm to cider type appeal. So we have New York apples in all of our ciders, and we have 3 different flavors. We have an unfiltered, we have a ginger honey, which is the sweetest, but is also got a little bit of spice from the ginger. And then we have a rosé as well. They're also available in a variety pack if you want to sample all 3. But really proud that we're doing cider again, and you know, give them a try. They're really refreshing. They're gluten-free, really nice ciders, a little bit different than the commercial ciders. And obviously it makes a fantastic cocktail as well.
So speaking of the honey ginger cider, Control Room wants to know, what would you guys think of this tan line with the honey ginger cider?
Ooh, that actually sounds very good too.
It is. I think
another layer of complexity to it.
I tried it with it. It wasn't bad. I just wanted to stick with the traditional unfiltered for this one, but you could certainly substitute the honey ginger.
Yeah, I mean, it might be a little closer to a tradish mule because it's got the ginger in there. But I mean, I think this cocktail this drink would be good with all of the ciders. I think you could use all of them and it would be good.
Pretty amazing. My wife's from upstate New York, and she's a little snobbish about her apples. So having all the apple juice from New York, all the apple orchards, she thinks it's pretty cool. So
yeah, and we get our apple juice from another local manufacturer, Mayer Brothers, up in Tonawanda, New York. Supplies us with squeezes the juice and supplies us with all of our apple juice. So they're great partners. Just want to give them a little shout out.
Very cool. This is another obviously awesome summer cocktail. It would be easy, you know, at a barbecue. To me, this apples and barbecue go great together anyway. So I think you could take this into that realm: barbecue chicken, pork, whatever. It'd be killer.
Oh, I could see smoking some ribs for about 5 hours and tearing into a few of these. That would be pretty good.
Absolutely.
Why not? All right.
Good job, Carrie. That's awesome.
Great, thanks. We try to put out good stuff here.
Very nice.
Highlight the product. Keep everything simple. My theory is really to make everything simple enough to duplicate at home, where it's not, you know, anything too complicated. You couldn't find these ingredients anywhere in a grocery store or any food store, even online. Amazon has a lot of the ingredients too, if you want to order online. So try to keep things simple.
Yeah, and we'll post all the recipes on our social media pages and our Instagram stories. So if you weren't able to create along with us right now, you can always make them later on this week. All right, one more to go, guys.
This brings us to Finn's namesake.
Yeah, this is where the rubber hits the road.
This cocktail, disclaimer, this was not my invention. This was here. I know. We're going to use a mixing glass, a separate glass to mix the cocktail in, then we're going to pour it into our old-fashioned glass. All right, so this is Finn's Old Fashioned. This is what Finn 99.9% of the time likes to drink when it comes to the distillery. Finn prefers a bar Old Fashioned as opposed to a muddled Old Fashioned. So the difference is a bar Old Fashioned uses simple syrup. There's no fruit in the Old Fashioned to muddle up with the simple syrup and the bitters. You just build everything with simple syrup, your bitters, your bourbon in the glass, and then just a simple garnish. Finn also likes it a little light on the simple syrup. So instead of using a half an ounce, we do a quarter ounce for them.
Yep. I'm not big on the sweetness in my old fashions. I really like the bitters to kind of be the offsetting flavor of the bourbon. And then also the cherry actually adds quite a bit of sweetness too, as it like marinades in the bourbon. So I'm not into the muddle, not into a ton of sugar. I just like my old fashions nice and clean and bitter.
You don't like the fruit salad old fashioned?
No, once in a while I'll take a muddled old fashioned, but it's kind of a pulped up mess in my book. But they're still delicious. I do like them all, but this is the one I prefer the most.
All right, and that's the one we're making today. So we're gonna start. We've got a couple cubes of ice in our mixing glass, and I've got some ice in a drinking glass as well. We're gonna build everything in the mixing glass. So we're gonna start with 3 dashes of cocktail bitters. These are just the Stura bitters. These ones, you can find them I've seen them Wegmans, Walmart, grocery stores, online, everywhere. We do 3 dashes of orange bitters. Again, you can get them pretty much anywhere. They're easy to come by.
Don't be afraid. You really can't overdo it with the bitters.
And then again, our 1-to-1 ratio simple syrup, just a quarter ounce. The 1 bar spoon is usually about 1/8 of an ounce. So I'm just gonna do 2 little bar spoons. You could measure in a little measuring spoon. And then a full 2 ounces of Southern Tier straight bourbon. Right there. Give it a good stir just to chill. We want to chill the bourbon. All the ingredients. When you're tasting bourbons and whiskey, usually a few drops of water really opens up the aromas and the flavors of it. So that's why we stir it over the ice to really open up all the flavors. We strain it with our strainer right into our glass over the ice. And this one gets garnished with an orange peel. Do a nice little orange peel. For me, my preference is I always like it around the glass. Put some of the essential oils from the orange around the glass. I wrap it, little rose. I'm gonna pick with a cherry. Here at the empty bottle, we use the Luxardo maraschino cherries. They're Italian cherry, really full of flavor, really good. Put that right in, give it a stir, and you're set.
I didn't have the pick, so if you're at home and you just want to drop it right in, that's what I did, and it still comes out pretty darn good.
You can't mess it up.
You really can't. But if you haven't tried our bourbon, you should. It's great. Not only is it made with local farm corn, barley, and rye. Like I was saying, now a lot of our bourbon is going on 4 to 5 years. We've released some bottled and bond. What we produce at the distillery is called a wheated bourbon. So where a lot of the Kentucky bourbons are a little bit more forward with their barley and rye, so a little bit spicier. Kind of a new trend that's been developing is called a wheated bourbon. It's a much softer bourbon, so it's not as spicy. It doesn't have a lot of the kind of peppery heat. And in my opinion, it's just a much smoother bourbon. And as it ages, it gets even smoother. So we produce a beautiful wheated bourbon. And like I was saying, compared to a lot of other craft distilleries, we had the ability to open and not rush products to market and allow our barrels to really lay down and age. So now we're coming out with some, aged spirits that we're extremely proud of. So everything that you're going to see on the shelves these days is over 4 years old. Some of our bottled and bond is 100 proof. We also have some single barrel releases. So I would definitely, if you haven't looked at our bourbons, please do. I'd put them right up against any of the Kentucky distilleries or any of the like really premier craft distilleries, and our price points are pretty hard to beat. So check it out.
Yeah, and to kind of go along with that, then we use the same bourbon in our Bourbon Smash canned cocktail, which was just shown on the screen here recently. And last week, Food Network said that our Bourbon Smash was one of the canned cocktails to drink of the summer. So,
Oh, wow.
there you have it.
We have a line of all of our canned cocktails. Let's talk about that for a minute.
Sure. Canned cocktails. Should we can go grab the array?
I had to say, as a kid who grew up in the South, obviously I've been around some bourbon in my life, and this bourbon is magnificent. I mean, like you said, it stands up there with any of them, I think.
It really does. I mean, it's hard to kind of penetrate the dominance of all the Kentucky distillers, but I mean, I think there's some really good up and coming New York distillers and all around the country that aren't just out of Bardstown or out of Louisville, that are making some really, really good stuff. So I think that everybody should kind of like wine too. I mean, it was all about California wine, but now, I mean, heck, Washington wine is getting pretty darn good. So, things don't have to be so regionally specific to mean that they're good by any means.
Absolutely.
But I see Nate setting up some of our RTDs. We have a great variety of ready to drink cocktails, vodka soda, bourbon smash, vodka madras and gin and tonic, mixology in a can. It's great. It's convenient, and it gets you that true experience of standing across the bar, but you could be sitting in a boat or a golf course. So check those out. They're beautiful, along with the vodka seltzers. So, I mean, I hope everybody takes away the depth that Southern Tier is. We have these great beers that we're constantly innovating, from our Blackwater series that we talked about to the IPAs that we do, to new innovations like Cider and Ruby Red 8 days a week, Vanilla Whip, milkshake IPAs, different fruit beers, to the RTDs and the spirits. I mean, so we're a very diverse company with a really deep portfolio, and we really push innovation and creativity. And today, with all these drinks and all these innovative things that Carrie came up with, I hope everybody really enjoyed it as much as I did. And it's great to see my classic favorites. Hope everybody had a great time. And if anybody has any questions, please ask. I guess we can go into kind of Q&A at this point.
Yeah, there are a couple of questions and comments, but first I think we need a social.
Oh yeah.
So cheers. All right. Oh, there was a question from Lauren. What is everyone's favorite cocktail of all time?
Good question.
I think mine is Finn's Old Fashioned right now. This is tasty.
I got to say, even before tonight, Old Fashioned has always been my favorite. So
It's a solid go-to. I prefer my old fashions with brown sugar, so I'll usually do like a brown sugar or a brown sugar simple syrup in mine.
really,
Yeah.
never had one like that.
I'm a fan of gin martinis, especially if they're got, with the little extra olive juice, a little extra dirty. One of my favorites.
Yep, that's up there.
I think my all-time favorite is probably Manhattan. Although at the distillery, I drink mostly old fashions. When I'm home, I do like a good Manhattan.
Those are hard to beat. really just bourbon in a glass is also one of my favorite cocktails. So
Yeah,
I agree, Drew.
our American whiskey with an ice cube is pretty tasty too. That's a cocktail, but it feels like a cocktail when you have to get an ice cube out of the freezer, right?
yep.
You don't always have to, Nate.
Very cool. Well, there's a lot of cheersing and a lot of participation going on in the comments. A lot of people drinking along with you. Some shout outs from Sarah and Kelly. Kelly says she can't wait until the bar is open again.
Yeah, here's our bar right now.
Where can we?
We're
It says he would love to have a cocktail from you, Carrie. Thank you for what you do. And
Are there any more questions or?
let's talk about the hand sanitizer.
Yeah,
sure.
good idea.
Sure.
So, in response to the need, especially in our immediate area, there was a definite need for hand sanitizer. So, we put together the ingredients from the FDA, WHO, and started producing hand sanitizer here out of the distilleries. We kind of quickly changed gears and made something that we could sort of do, and really began to do it in a kind of a production sort of way. And we started putting it into the 4-ounce spritzer bottles, but then also into half gallons and gallon jugs. And all of the proceeds from the tasting room here of the sale of the small spritzer bottles have gone to our local food bank, which is called Feed More WNY, Feed More Western New York. So we've donated about $5,000 so far to Feed More Western New York, and that helps to benefit all of the different food banks around our area. I know we've done something similar in our other tasting rooms where these have been made available in and around Downingtown, Pennsylvania, Pittsburgh, and also in Charlotte, North Carolina. So it's something that we're really grateful that we're able to do and to be part of a solution to keep everybody safe in our local areas and regionally.
Yeah, Nate, it was really amazing to see how quickly, when the need was there, how we were able to pivot and produce hand sanitizer to support, not only the food bank, but other, first responders in our community, and even our wholesale partners that were trying to, supply our retail chain and kind of, keep things going, keep their employees safe. It was impressive of, within a week or 2 weeks of figuring out how to do it, running the stills, how we were able to pivot and produce the volume of hand sanitizer to supply to the market while not price gouging like a lot of people were.
Yeah, it was definitely something that we were able to react to quickly, and again, we're really grateful to be able to do that and to do it as quickly as we did.
Yep. We had a great response in Charlotte, people being able to get it for themselves, and then the donation to the food bank, that was an awesome thing for us to do there. They were really excited about it. So.
All right, guys, well, I think that is a really lovely note to end on. A big cheers to everyone staying healthy and safe out there. All right. Cheers.
Cheers to all.